every item I can find. Come on! Come on! Ah. Perfect. Okay, I think that'll be fine. Tally ho, ItsOcean here, back again for another video, or at least I'm trying to. But Nemesis is on his way, guys. And there's zombies outside, and I don't know what I'm doing. But hey, the show must go on, right? Resident Evil 3 Remake has been released, and I have spent a lot of time playing it. In fact, I almost got all the achievements in this game. Go me! Just ignore those 3 locked achievements you see there. Is there gas in here? I have played the whole experience and I am now ready to talk about what the game is like. Now before we begin, I do want to say that this game seems to be very divisive among the fanbase. I've spoken to some people that think this game is an absolute masterpiece, and I have spoken to some people that think this game is the biggest hot pile of garbage since No Man's Sky original release. Everyone seems to feel differently about this game. Also, I am sad to say that I had to buy this game digitally due to the whole corona-
Whoa, wait! Ocean, stop! You cannot say that! YouTube doesn't want you to say that word.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. In that case, it was because of the T-virus. There we go, there's my scapegoat. But this does, however, mean that I don't have a physical copy. And that means that my collection is no longer complete. Such a shame. Anyway, let's get into the video. Resident Evil 3 Remake takes place before and during Resident Evil 2. Raccoon City is falling and we get to see the return of lovable badass Jill Valentine. The very same beret-wearing Jill Valentine who starred in the first Resident Evil game. She finds herself being thrown into this nightmare by a giant hulking monstrosity that is stalking her, doing anything in its power to try and kill her. This is Nemesis. And he will be a thorn in your side throughout this experience. Have fun! I can't really say too much more without getting into spoiler territory, but Jill wants to escape Raccoon City, only to find herself getting wrapped up in another group's problems. This group is the UBCS, which for some reason sounds like a category you'd find on a porn website. These Marines are part of Umbrella and have been sent into the city to fight the mutated nightmares walking the streets and save the people. Or are they? This introduces Carlos, and he is our second playable character. He's nowhere near as playable as the Scenario B character in Resident Evil 2, but he does have some playable sections. Will these two get out of the city alive? Will the Nemesis wreck their plans and their faces? Only you can find out by facing this nightmare and kicking its ass. Resident Evil 3 Remake mostly plays like RE2 Remake, which makes a lot of sense considering it only came out last year. Okay, I've got to stop a second and just say, it feels really weird to say that because so much has already happened in 2020 and it really doesn't feel like it's been a year since Resident Evil 2 Remake came out. It feels like it's been multiple or something. Anyway, the game is third person again and features a lot of the same mechanics from Resident Evil 2 Remake, but it does also add some new ones. Our protagonists Jill and Carlos have a new mechanic available, and that is the ability, with Jill having the dodge mechanic from the original Resident Evil 3, but it's now been refined and is actually good now, and Carlos has this shoulder badge punchy thing.
Falcon Punch!
To be honest, I don't really like it. Sure, it's great punching a zombie right in the face when he tries to grab you and get all up in your sweet pecs, but overall Jill's dodge is just way better in every single way. Carlos's Falcon Punch can knock a zombie or two down or stun them briefly, but it just leaves him completely open to attack, and I just don't find it very useful for getting out of bad situations, whereas Jill's dodge can really get you through some tough moments. The dodge does have its drawbacks though, and you can find yourself dodging into enemies, which can be painful to say the least. I do want to warn you though, you do need to learn how to get good with this mechanic if you want to survive Nemesis encounters, as he swings fast. Which is a perfect segue into the next section, and that is Nemesis. This giant hulking mass of kick your ass is Nemesis. He makes Mr. X look like a little bitch. You little bitch. Nemesis can run, he can jump, he can burst through walls, he can commit hentai on you, and he is dangerous. If you hadn't guessed it yet, he's a very big focus in this game, and he will not stop until you are dead. He makes me miss Mr. X so much. Now, if giant monsters wielding flamethrowers and dodge abilities haven't clued you in on this yet, Resident Evil 3 focuses a lot more on action this time around, just as the original game did. RE2 Remake had a few bombastic moments, but mostly focused on the quiet, the dark, and the isolation. But then you got Resident Evil 3 all up in here like. Did Paul W.S. Anderson direct this? Oh god no, please don't put Alice in this game. The game still focuses a lot on inventory management, but there are a lot more enemies now and much more frequently too. Therefore resources are much more plentiful, which means that you are going to be taking many a trip to your item box. This title features a lot of the expected weaponry for you to use, from your handguns to your grenade launchers, and they all function as you would expect. There's nothing really much to say here, although there are some new trip mines you can fire from the grenade launcher which are pretty neat. Interestingly enough, the game features some brand new experimental weapons that you can unlock after beating the game. You gain access to a store where you can unlock a bunch of different items with points that you gain by completing challenges in the records section. It's a cool way of making these challenges feel a lot more meaningful and allows you to pick what you want to unlock, which is pretty cool. By the way, just to mention, I won't be showing any of the unlock store in this video to avoid spoilers for anyone that wants to see all of that goodness for themselves. But what good are weapons without enemies? Well, Resident Evil 3 sure does have some for you. There are your usual zombies. They function pretty much the same as the RE2 remake. There are the new Nemesis Alpha zombies, which, I get the confusion, but that's not a new Street Fighter game. Street Fighter Nemesis Alpha plus Pi. And these things can whip you from a distance, causing you to be stunned for a brief moment. To be really honest, I hate them. I really hate them. They are just an irritation. They die quite easily though, so silver linings, I guess? One kind of annoying enemy type makes its valiant return in this game, and that is the Hunter. These goddamn murderous assholes function the same as the past games. They are fast, they are aggressive, and they can still kill you with the one-hit claw move that they used to do in the old games. Oh my god, why? Why did you put that back in? There are also the Gammas, which are these really weird giant fish things. What the fuck is that? They are interesting, I suppose, but they are way too easy to kill. I didn't have any trouble with this creature throughout the entirety of the game, and that is including the hardest difficulties, which I will get to in a little bit. It's kind of lame, but I can respect the model design. And then there are the bugs. Nope, I don't want any of that, nah. The enemy variety in this game is pretty good, but some enemy types are only used once in the entire game. It's super disappointing to see them go to waste, which leads me into a big change that this game has over RE2 Remake, and that is the new difficulties. These two modes are called Nightmare and Inferno difficulty. Nightmare mode actually changes the item and enemy locations as well as making the game harder. Inferno mode pretty much does all of that as well, but it limits your saves to only 5 throughout the entire game. It's an interesting idea, but I personally never really liked limiting saves like this in any video game, as it just feels like the difficulty of it is really forced. And to me, it never really adds anything that makes the game more difficult overall. It just makes it super tedious and boring to have to repeat progress that you already made if you die. But I need to say this, and I'm really sorry to burst your bubble here, but Nightmare and Inferno mode kind of fizzles out after the first large chunk of the game. But I don't want to say too much about that because I don't want to spoil the experience for you should you play this game. Now, one thing that I really noticed in this game is the change in the world design. RE2 Remake allowed you to explore your surroundings and had a lot of backtracking, with some puzzles thrown in there too. Well, unfortunately, RE3 has only gotten worse in that department. Most of this game is very linear, with only small areas to explore, and the game only has 2 puzzles that I can actually remember. There might be 1 or 2 more, but there really is not that many puzzles in this game. And both of the puzzles that I can remember are very easy. It's very disappointing, especially with how great Mr. X was when you were trying to explore the police station and do stuff in RE2 Remake. And another issue with some of the design of this game that I found is Nemesis, even though he's a big feature in this game, he's rarely in it. He only actively chases you around for the first part of the game. After that, he becomes part of giant set pieces, which is very disappointing, especially with how great Mr. X was when you were trying to get around the police station and do stuff in Resident Evil 2. Which makes me really sad because my favourite parts of Resident Evil 2 Remake were those sections where you're trying to complete puzzles or you're trying to go back and get some ammo or an upgrade for a weapon, but Mr. X keeps popping up at every single corner. Like, you look in your hand, there's Mr. X, you look around the side, there's Mr. X. Whereas Nemesis, he's kind of just in the background, just kind of waving, just... I will talk more about the issues that I have with this game soon, but I do want to talk about the graphics in this game and the soundtrack first, so let's do that. Now, I gotta say, one of the best things about the latest Resident Evil games is the new engine. This game looks gorgeous! Damn, Resident Evil, did you do something with your hair? Whew. Do you want to go back to my place and play some Halo? The graphics really lend a helping hand in what is already a great atmosphere. Or at least it would be if fire explosions weren't everywhere in this game. Still looks rather pretty though. I do feel like this game is a lot darker than Resident Evil 2 Remake though, and that's because Jill Valentine never switches on a goddamn flashlight even when I need her to. Come on Jill, my retinas are being ass blasted right here. Like, legit though, my eyes started to feel really strained and painful only after a short amount of time playing this game, so I had to crank the brightness up as far as I could. And there's a little tip for you. And no, I don't mean the money kind. I ain't rich. Go and get your own sugar daddy. Now, moving over to the soundtrack, one of the strange but powerful things about RE2 Remake was the soundtrack. Or the lack of one. It had music in there, but it was used very sparingly, instead opting on highlighting the binaural audio that the game had, which for all of us dum-dums out there, means you can hear all the freaky deaky creatures that freak in the night making all kinds of noise around you. But Resident Evil 3 opts for more of a constant soundtrack this time. Sure, there are the moments of silence that its forefathers once bared, and yes, that is actually me playing that anthem, because by the gods, if YouTube wants to copyright strike me, then they are gonna have a hard fucking time trying. Come at me, you cowards. You won't. You. Resident Evil 3's soundtrack is filled with a lot of what I shall dub generic action music, because to be honest, none of it really stood out for me. The save room music from the original game has been remixed, which is super dope, and there's this constant droning for the first like 30 minutes of the game. Really makes you feel unsettled, doesn't it? How is there 2 lots of droning now? How does that even work? can't get me in here. It can't get me in here. There's no way it can find me. It can't get me. It's just silence. Sweet silence. Oh my god, the sweet silence. During big set piece moments, you get the aforementioned generic action music, which helps with the mood the developers want to set, and that is a moment of intense and crazy action. It works, but it just doesn't beat RE2 Remake's For Survivor music. Oh god, yeah, that's the stuff right there. Oh, hell yeah. Whoa! Get in here, drum music. Come on, get in here. Now, don't you be shy. You're gonna do some shots with me. Drink, drink, drink. Now, moving on to the issues, and I gotta say, I'm already sad that I have to say this. All of this, in fact, because there's quite a lot. The unfortunate thing about RE3 Remake is that, in my opinion, the game isn't as good as last year's RE2 Remake. In fact, it's disappointing. The scare factor is there in a few places, but it feels a lot lesser. The game has a lot more action, just like its original counterpart, but that shouldn't need to take away from the atmosphere and the scares. This leaves the game feeling inferior to RE2 Remake constantly, and just making it worse is the fact that Resident Evil 3 is shorter than RE2 Remake. I have had the game since launch, and I have almost got 100% completion in this game. On every achievement, every record challenge, I just need to beat the last boss on the hardest difficulties, and let me just get this out of my system. Fuck that fucking boss, stupid fucking piece of shit, dick tits, shit stick. Whew. Okay. I think I'm alright. Sorry. But that boss on the last two difficulties is the hardest thing I've ever had to do in a Resident Evil game. It feels broken and it feels super unfair. F that boss. Anyways, regarding the game's short playtime, there is stuff to complete, but the replayability seems just like it's lacking. It doesn't help that this remake feels absolutely nothing like the original game. It's less of a remake and more like a soft reboot. Most of this game's areas look nothing like the original. The Raccoon City streets, for example, are rather small overall and are completely different from the original game, which drains any nostalgia that you could get for this game. I still remember walking into the RPD for the very first time in RE2 Remake and having my mind blown. Seeing Ada Wong, the car park, the alligator and the labs. It hits me so hard with the nostalgia. But this remake, it barely even scratched an itch. This remake also cut a lot of content from the original game. The clock tower section is completely gone now, the graveworm boss and the park are completely gone, the branching path system is completely gone. That's cool, but oddly purple handgun is completely gone. There's only one unlockable outfit in this game that I won't be showing, and there's the pre-order outfit. And this game's got a completely different ending, which I won't spoil anything of, so don't worry. That is a lot. Another big issue that I ran into was that personally, I thought the game was way too easy. Now, I played on standard mode, which might be the reason why, as I do know that they have rebalanced and retweaked some of the difficulties, so maybe that's why it felt easy. It also could be because I 100%ed RE2 Remake, and thus I have all the strategies in mind, and I play smart and safe. But I only died once in my entire first playthrough, which by the way, is up on YouTube on my other channel right now. And the move that killed me was a one-hit kill move from the Hunter. Boss fights gave me absolutely no trouble at all, apart from that last boss on the harder fucking difficulties. And unfortunately, Nemesis is only a potential danger in the first third or so of the game, which is super disappointing. The harder difficulties can fix some of these problems, but even then I didn't find the game anywhere near as difficult as RE2 Remake's highest difficulty was. I have, however, seen some other players struggle with this game, so, I don't know, maybe I'm just good at a video game for once. And to finish off this rather large issues section, the dodge roll sometimes either doesn't work, or you end up perfect dodging into attacks or more zombies, which kind of defeats the point. Carlos's shoulder tackle punchy thing
Falcon Punch!
is nowhere near as useful as Jill's dodge. Not a fan of the shoulder move at all, but that is Resident Evil 3 Remake. A fun but disappointing linear sprint through Raccoon City. I feel rather sad to talk about this game like this because Capcom have been making such great games lately, but this didn't quite meet the mark. It's still a super fun game, but any die-hard fans of Resident Evil 3 are going to be very disappointed with this one. I'd say that it's still worth playing though, as I had a lot of fun playing it even with all the issues. And that is why Resident Evil 3 has earned the title of Fun Times. But anyways, thank you for watching. What did you think about Resident Evil 3 Remake? Let me know in the comments section down below. I have some videos on some great games coming up soon, including more Tony Hawk games and Borderlands 3. If you liked the video, feel free to like and subscribe, and also feel free to share the video on social media if you want to. Well, it's been nice knowing you all. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Oh. No, I guess I won't, will I? Have a good life. Just give love to all your family. Just remember that life is finite and it can be over at any minute. Tell them my story. Share this video. Let people know what happened here today. Goodbye. Wherever you go, I will follow you into the sunset of our dreams. Wherever you go, whatever you do, I will follow you into the sunset of our dreams.